Hi there, my name is John Dahlberg and I'm editor-in-chief of a Northwestern newspaper called the Surbat Gem. We're online at thesurbatgem.com, and the reason that we're doing this video is because we are introducing a new set of products, and they are all concerned about one thing. That is your safety, your family's safety, and your business and personal property safety. We offer all sorts of products, which we're going to talk about shortly. But before we go into that, I want to tell you just a little bit about myself and why I think I've got some pretty good insight as to why you could probably use some of the products that we're going to have. Like I said, my name is John. I'm a retired policeman. I was an active street cop from 1968 to 1988. I rarely left the street because I enjoyed being out there where the action is. I enjoyed all the fun stuff that you see when you watch the cop movies on TV, and that was fun. I've dealt with a lot of crimes, everything from somebody stole my potted plants, to murders, to suicides. Pick a topic, and I've done it. So I have that kind of street experience. And in my office, right there, I have some newspaper clippings of some of the fun parts of my job back then. So what we're going to do is take the camera and focus a few seconds on each one, just to let you know that what I'm telling you is not a lot of baloney, but it's fact. Then when we come back from that, I'm going to show you some of the products, I'm going to demonstrate them to you, and I'm going to have my friend Brian, who is our IT guy and cameraman today, help me demonstrate how some of the products works and how they should be properly used. So take a second and take a look at the old newspaper clippings from days gone by, and you can judge for yourself if I'm aware of what's going on. So take a minute and do that, and see in about 60 seconds. Well, you've seen the newspaper clippings, so I think you'll agree I have some idea of what's going on in the world. And sadly, it has not gotten any better. I'm sure you've all heard of home invasions, of all the rapes, all the personal robberies, all the personal assaults that take place, the people that kick in the doors and rob, kill, and all sorts of stuff like that. My philosophy on all this has always been this, and it's very simple, and for your own benefit, you should remember what I'm going to say right now. A victim is simply someone who was not prepared. If you're properly prepared for the worst event, and you have the proper tools, and you know what to look for, and you know what to anticipate in case things really go wrong, there's almost no reason you should be a victim. That's why we're here today, is to inform you a little bit about some of this stuff. Now, admittedly, there are people out there, and you probably know who they are. For whatever reason, they are under the impression that you shouldn't have any right to defend yourself. That's simply not true. Why should you relinquish your personal safety and the safety of your wife, your kids, your business, your home, and all that to the criminal just because somebody else has decided, you really shouldn't have any right to defend yourself? Just kick back, be a victim, and enjoy it. There's nothing to enjoy. I've seen the victims. I know what it's like. Whether they were murdered, the little old lady that was beaten up, anything like that. They got that way because they were not prepared to defend themselves. And there's no reason in the world for that. It doesn't take a lot of money to be able to ward off an attacker. And that's what we are going to show you today. So with that in mind, I'm going to start showing you some of the products, tell you a little bit about it, and just general tips as to what you should be looking for. So let's get started on that. What does a criminal look for? A criminal always looks for somebody that looks defenseless. What does defenseless look like? Well, I'm coming out, I'm walking through the parking lot, and I got my car key in my hand. I walk up to the car and I unlock it. I look totally helpless. I'm not paying a lick of attention to the world around me. So, if I'm watching you, or in this case myself, and I see somebody that just came out of the store, maybe I got a bag of something in my hand or whatever, that means I bought something. So I've got some cash, got some credit cards probably. I had a means to get what I wanted. And I proved that because I'm out here. But I also didn't pay a lick of attention to the world around me. You could have been following me out here to my car. I wouldn't have known. The point of that is don't become a victim. It's not hard to do. When you walk out of the store, when you're walking across the parking lot, stand up straight. Just kind of look around. It doesn't hurt to do that while you're walking. If you can chew gum and walk at the same time, you can do this. No matter where you're walking, if it's down the street in front of the local shopping mall or whatever, stand straight. It means something to the criminal. Look around. Be aware of what's happening around you. There's some teenagers over there, or some guys that look kind of threatening, that look like, maybe they're just kind of watching me to see what I'm going to do. Or is it somebody that's been sitting in a car watching customers as they come and go? Look them. Always give them direct eye contact. Don't be afraid to do that. You look them in the eye. Because if they see you looking them in the eye, they know that you have looked. You're somewhat aware of what's going on, and that's what you need. If you look like you're aware, and you have some self-confidence, they're going to move to somebody that looks all timid and just kind of not doing anything except watching where they're walking. That person's going to be a victim. You looked at me. You know what I look like. So chances are they're going to pass you by to find a bigger sucker to rob or assault, no matter what it is. Keep that in mind. Don't be afraid to look confident. Don't be afraid to walk confident. Don't be afraid to be confident. Don't let yourself appear to be a victim. That's one of the biggest things that you can do to protect yourself. Now, I and the paper, we're all out here in Arizona, northwest Arizona. One of the things nice out here, and the anti-gun crowd won't like this, but it's perfectly legal to open carry and concealed carry handguns out here. So you can walk into a bakery, you can walk into Walmart, you can walk into the auto parts store, there's guys packing a gun on their side. And there's a lot of people that have concealed carries. Now there's some segments of the country that think that if you can carry a handgun, there's nothing but shootings and murders. It's not true. We can prove it right here in Arizona and Mojave County. Because I'm going to assault you with my gun. You may already have it on your hip and I can see it. Or you may just be able to pull yours out from underneath your jacket. And now things are even. It's gun against gun. Now you don't have a victim anymore. You've got somebody that can defend themselves. So the right toy, used properly, can save your hide. Consider that. All right, we're going to talk a little bit now about using and the best way to consider things. The first thing is if you can keep the most distance, foot-wise, between you and your attacker, the better off you are. You have to be prepared. When you walk out that parking lot, this is where being aware of your surroundings is handy. Because if there's any thought whatsoever that those group of guys over there are looking a little funny, before they come up to you, you just casually reach into your pocket and you take out your pepper spray or mace or whatever, your little aerosol thing. This should always be your first line of defense. Well, technically second. The first thing to do, if somebody's coming at you, get out, run, or get in your car and lock the doors. Or if you have to, go back into the store. Get away from the scene. Don't just stand there and look like a stalk of corn in a cornfield and not move. Do something first physically to get out from the situation. If you can't do that, then you reach and you get your pepper spray or your aerosol spray, defense spray, whatever name it's got. What's nice about that is at the last minute, they start walking up to you and you know you're going to become a victim in just a second. So you bring up your spray so they can see it. And what's nice about these things, if there's one or half a dozen of them, you can zap them all. Now this is an 18% real hot, the brand is called Wildfire pepper spray. And whether it's mace, a conventional spray, whatever, they work. And if you start squirting your attacker with this stuff, even if it's not that effective, he's going to perceive it as being effective, and they're going to react that way, and they're going to start to head out. You protected them. You protected yourself, and maybe your attacker's only gotten 5 feet or so close to you. That's what you want, is to keep them as far away from you as possible. Most sprays have an effective reach of roughly 10 to 12 feet. The closer they get, the more effective. It only takes a blast in the face. So one there, one there, one there, one there. Pretty soon, they're all gone. And you've totally confused them. You protected yourself. You never got hurt. So a spray of some sort is your first choice in self-defense products. Now we're going to talk about something a little bit different. If something happened where somebody came up from behind you or to the side and you didn't have time to get to pepper spray, or you forgot the thing at home, whatever, you would use something like this when your attacker is getting way too close to you. They haven't quite gotten at an arm's reach. Just beyond arm's reach is where you want to keep them. Once they get within arm's reach, you better have another plan as how to defend yourself. So you want to keep them this far, which is about from shoulder to hand, 2.5 feet or whatever. So try to keep them there. What's nice about this is rubber coated, and it's, 6 inches, 8 inches long, and looks harmless, doesn't it? Watch this. Now now it's not quite so harmless anymore. And you don't want to poke holes in the wall. But the point is, these things, you have to bang them onto the cement to get them to retract. It took that to get it back in. But then it's reloaded. You put it back in its little holster and you walk on. Just doing this will usually stop an attacker, because what he perceived as a defenseless person, he's not defenseless anymore. And I'm going to have Brian help me show you how to use this thing properly. If you've never seen one, this is a stun gun. They come in all sorts of voltages. These things come in various shapes, sizes, and voltages. Why they'd all just come maximum voltage, I don't know. Don't worry about offending your attacker with an 80,000 volt stun gun or a 400,000 volt stun gun. He has no respect for you. You should have no respect for him. Most of these things run off of, this one runs off of a 9 volt, common 9 volt battery. This is another one. This is an 80,000 volt stun gun. This is a 100,000 volt. I'm going to show you a 350,000 volt stun gun in a minute. The idea of these is, these are really wonderful, but the drawback to these, or something else called a Kubotan I'm going to show you, they're great for defense, but if you have to use anything like this, that means that your attacker is already right here in front of you. You don't want that to happen. Keep them at least an arm's length away. Show you something. I can't think of a better way to protect yourself than with a stun gun. I'm going to turn the light off because I want you to see something. Brian, flick that light off. Did you see that? I don't want to do it too often because it ruins the points. It burns them up because that's a high energy arc and it just burns these things into oblivion.
One more time. Now we can go back.
Okay, you can turn the light on. These are wonderful for self-defense because if they're coming that close and you've got this, bring it out, let them see it, and then just the sound itself, your attacker, that guy knows what you've got, and I guarantee you he's not going to want to get nailed with this thing. These are non-lethal. Nothing we have is lethal. Nothing we have would kill somebody. We don't want to get into that. We want to protect you at close range, far range, and everything else in between. But you take your stun gun out and just give them a zap. I'm not going to do it because it ruins it. Once you put this against somebody and pull the trigger, then the arc is going into them and not across the points. So that's a totally different story. But you don't want to take this out at house parties and show everybody and impress them what a stun gun looks like, because you'll ruin it. So don't do it. This is the 100,000. Oh, did I show you my new cell phone? Can you see that, Brian? We're adjusting the camera, obviously. You see it? Look, little cell phone case, right? Well, Brian's kind of a tough-looking dude. He's coming to me. So maybe I'm going to get my cell phone out. It's not a cell phone. This is a 350,000 volt stun gun. So you take it out. This one's got a little on-off switch over here. You turn it on, the red light comes on. Did you hear the difference between 100,000 and 350,000 volts? These work real well. Once again, your potential attacker sees and hears this thing, he's going to think twice. If you've got your stun gun, Brian, does that have a field of vision to get both of us in right now? Okay, Brian, come here a second. This is my buddy, soon to be ex-buddy. I'm going to show you what to do with this thing. Now, most people, when they're attacked, what's the first reaction? Get away from me. That can be the wrong thing to do. If you're getting attacked and you have the right toys to defend yourself, Brian attacked me. I'm going to bring him in, and I've got my stun gun. I'm sticking in here. I'm going to hold him tight. You hold your attacker tight, and then give him a blast. Here, here, underarm, any place you can get him. But draw that person into you. Because if you're holding him tight, and you have the physical strength to do it, you have control of him. He doesn't have control of you. If you have control of him, you can take your stun gun and zap him and drop him like a dead fish. That's what you want. You don't want to ever get into a position where he is that close. But if he does, boop, he's done. He's gone. He's out of it. Say, oh, sorry, have a nice day. And you walk into your car and drive off. Maybe you want to call the cops later and say, hey, go try to find that guy laying on the ground where I zapped him with my stun gun. So that's a little word about stun guns. They're a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful self-defense tool. Oh, and they can look like, put them in their holster, looks like a little cell phone. And they're cheap. $30 or so, you've got really, really good protection. So, I'm showing you the sprays, showing you telescoping steel batons, and also these come in 3 lengths, 16, 21, and the longest length I think is 26. If you get yourself the 26 length one, that's about like this. All that does, they both do the same job, that you got a little bit more wiggle room with these things. If they're short, like this is the shortest one, and they're just as effective, but you don't have the reach. Well, if you've got an attacker that's close enough to have to use this isn't really going to make any difference. This is a little bit lighter than the longer one, but I don't know what the weight is, but it's nothing. A woman can use this. Oh, well, I got this in my hand. Here's something else you can do. Brian, come on over here a second. Now, back up a little bit. Now, Brian's going to attack me, and I've already whipped this out. If that didn't stop him from thinking twice, and you have to use this, first of all, no matter what we show you, the most important thing that you can remember is there are basically 2 things that you have to be aware of and be willing to do. You have to have the physical strength to use what I'm showing you. And you have to be willing to use it. If you're not willing to use it, if you just don't want to hurt your attacker, the person who would just soon kill you is look at you, you're on your own. We can't help you. So you have to be able to use the toys. You have to be willing to. And if you're willing to, make sure you're going to hurt them. Because that's not going to do anything. Like, Craig, see what he just did? If I go to do that, where's your arm going to go? Okay, that's normal. And I'm going to hurt him, not literally. But I'm going to show you something. If you have to use this, you bring it back, and Brian, you think you know I'm going to nail you in the head. But I'm not. See where his arm is? Keep it there. I'm not going to hit him there. I'm going to look him in the eye, and I'm going to come down here. I'm going to hit him as hard as I can, right at the knee. Because he's not going to expect it. Keep your arm up. If the arm's there, look him in the eye, and convince him I'm going to nail you right in the face. Hit him in the ribs. Don't hit him where he's already got the thing blocked. Hit him where he's not expecting it. Almost if it's a fist fight, you keep your arms and your forearms up. So you don't hit him in the face because you know it's going to get blocked. I'm going to hit him. I'm going to hit him here. I'm going to hit him here. You could go for the hip, but that might do nothing more than create a big bruise. It's going to hurt. But if you nail him in the ribs, a little bit of luck, you're going to break a rib, or you're going to hit him down here and break a knee. They're going to drop. All you got to do it is once, and the fight is over, the attack is over. Because you are not that defenseless person anymore. You caused him a lot of hurt. Okay? Let's say you didn't have time to get this out. Okay? This is as hard as you got it. Brian's coming at me. I'm not going to hit him with this. Because movies and stuff tell you you're reinforcing your fist by having an object. So I could hit him like that, but probably what's going to happen, I'm going to break some fingers. So instead of hitting, you drive it right into the breastbone. You drive it right in here. Solar plexus is here. This is a metal stick. You hit him right here. And you'll probably break that sternum bone right in there. And if you do that, the attack is over. So even if it's not all the way out, hit him, and hit him hard. Don't be afraid to do it. Because he's going to have his face blocked. So don't do what he's expecting. He can raise his hand, but you're going to drive it right here. Real, real hard. Show you one other thing. After 20 years of being a cop, I never seen a woman attack anybody except her husband. But that's domestic violence. We're not talking about that. I'm going to show you one more real quick move with this thing, with the baton extended. Some guy's coming at you. Yeah, right in the crotch. And all that takes is a sharp snap of the wrist. He's going to go down. He ain't going to come up for a little while, is he? So you could do this, and his arm's going to go up, and you come down, you get him right in the crotch. Attack is over, and that's what you want. All right. Next little toy, you can stay here. You can see this. This never gets dull, never runs out of bullets, and it can't misfire. It's called the Kubotan. It's nothing, hardly wider than a man's fist. It's just a piece of machined, I think it's aluminum. But it's a wonderful tool. You can hang you put your keys on it, it's a handy little key ring. What's nice about that? It's always with you. If you're going to leave your cars in the key, or if you're a woman and you don't need the keys, your husband's driving or whatever, just take this off and drop it in your pocket or your purse. Then you don't have the keys to wave around. How do you use a Kubotan? Once again, you want to have one of these, but you don't ever want to have to use it. Because if you have to use that, that means, once again, you're face to face with your attacker. You're face to face with your attacker, and that's what you don't want. However, if that happens, once again, you're going to do what Brian isn't expecting you to do. He's going to attack me, and I'm going to grab him, and I'm going to hold him tight. And even if he puts put a chokehold on me. Take my Kubotan, pull it up on this one, and you take the pointy end, and you just drive it. I can't do it because it'll kill him. You just drive it as hard as you can into the rib cage. And I guarantee you, take your own knuckle right now. Take your knuckle and drive it into your own rib cage. And you feel how that hurts just doing that. Imagine taking this thing and just pushing as hard as you can into your attacker's ribs. And it doesn't hurt to run it up and down. Scrape that whole rib cage. He's going to be pushing you. If you can't get to the rib cage, drop your arms down. Give me like a bear hug. Then what do you do with it? Stick it right in the back of the ear, here, and push in as hard as you can. Or if you can, go in the jawline and drive it up into the jawline as hard as you can. And he's going to let you go real quick. These things are a wonderful little self-defense tool. But your in close is what you don't want, but sometimes you have no say in the matter. Your attacker is in your face right now, physical contact, so that's up to you. How am I going to defend myself? If you have to, if body positioning would work with the Kubotan, drive it. You see where this is? It's right below the stern. Drive it in here. Drive it in here. Drive it into the throat by the voice box. You stick this and start pushing as hard as you can. Once again, your attacker is leaving you. You're not leaving him. Right now, these are $5. Is that too much to protect yourself? And that's it for some self-defense items. Thank you, Brian. As you go through our online catalog, which is, if you take a look right here, you'll see the web address, thesurbatgym.com/security. And you'll have access to all sorts of stuff. Self-defense products, surveillance products, wireless, wired cameras, surveillance cameras, all sorts of stuff that you can use for the home, the business. They got some real neat things that you can hook up outside. They're weatherproof, and you can watch what's going on in your driveway or back of the house, wherever you want to put it. That's a remote camera, and you can monitor everything on your little monitor screen or whatever you would use. Some of those products get expensive. But what would the cost of that be compared to a home invasion, or you go to the store and you come back home and all your good belongings are gone? Wouldn't you like to have a security system then? Now, for just a second, I'm going to give you some food for thought. Let's say that you've got a security company that you pay X amount of dollars for to monitor your house against fire, burglary, emergencies, things like that. I would never say don't get that, because they are wonderful and they work. But I don't personally know any of them that provides a recorded image of who came in and what they took. What they do is monitor sounds, glass breakage, doors being kicked in. Then their system alerts their center. Then they send out their guards, and or they call the local law enforcement agency. but nothing makes record history of who came in, what they took, what they look like. That's where you come in and you help protect and defend your own home with some of the products under the security and surveillance category of products. And some of them are absolutely genius. If you have a business, and sometimes you come up with shortages that no one can explain, where's that money going? You might want to get one of our surveillance systems. You live in an area that might be a little bit iffy, and you want to see what's going on outside before somebody comes inside. We've got a cure for that too. So there's all sorts of ways that you can protect yourself, but you have to be willing to do it. You have to be willing to hurt somebody. You have to be willing to keep somebody from even getting close to you. And you just have to be prepared. We can't afford to assign a cop to every individual. There's an ice out there, and I remember them well. It was so busy, it didn't really make any difference what other calls were coming in. Our whole band would be busy on other calls, and you can't just say, "Oh, I'll be back in a minute. Hang in here," and then go to another call. So a lot of your own security, safety, and life depends on what you can do for yourself. Don't depend on everybody else, because you'll come out losing. So I'm done for now. Maybe we'll do another segment sometime, but right now you've got all the basics, pretty much what you need to know to protect yourself. Now go to our website if you're not already on it. Take a look at the products. And decide for yourself, how much is my life, my family life, my home, or business worth? And make up your own mind. My email is down here too, so if you ever have a question or whatever, shoot me an email, and I'll answer you personally. Once again, my name is John. I want to thank you very much for joining us today, and I hope I've enlightened you and given you a little bit of motivation to protect yourself. Thank you. See you next time.